take a look at replacing the fan clutch on this Dodge Durango with a 4.7 liter engine. Now in this process we're going to show how to carefully remove the old one and install the new one without damaging the threads in the process. First we need to remove this overflow tank, which doubles as the upper fan shroud. Now this is a split fan shroud, so I'm going to remove the electrical connectors here at the washer pumps, pull the hoses off it. Then there's a couple bolts holding this to the shroud here, and we'll lift this out of the vehicle. Now I got the upper shroud and overflow tank, windshield washer reservoir piece out of the way, it's time to remove the old fan clutch. So I've got my 36 millimeter wrench here, and in the kit that I purchased, it actually came with this holder as well. And so you can use this in one of two ways: to hold bolts on the water pump pulley if they're available, which this one there's not. So you'll notice there's these little pegs and there's holes in the pulley. I'm going to install this holder onto that pulley, put the pegs in the hole. Now it's going to hold my pulley tight. I'll then take my wrench and break this loose. That wasn't too tight. Once it's broken loose, I can just spin it off here by hand. Now there's different kits available, but this is a unique one in that it holds the pulley for you. And never ever should we be using an air hammer and an air chisel, as it's going to damage the unit as well as damage the threads and or the water pump bearing on the unit. So now that I've got this off, I'm going to remove the 4 bolts here and transfer my fan blade over to the new component. While it's apart, we need to make sure there's no cracks or nicks or dings or damage to the fan blade. That's going to affect the performance of our new fan clutch as well. So we'll transfer that over and install our new unit. All right, we've got our fan blade transferred over to our new clutch assembly. And before we put it on, we want to make sure that there's no nicks or burrs on the threads in here. Everything looks good, so we're ready to install it in place here. You'll see how easy it is once we have this opened up as well. I'm glad we pulled that fan shroud off, really opened it up, made the removal and installation process a little bit smoother. So once I get it started here, I can work it around and we'll get it snugged up just by hand. Now that that's in place, I'm going to take my tool again and install the pins in the holes. Grab my 36 millimeter wrench again and make sure this is good and tight. Now some fans may have a reverse thread, and if it does, it'll typically say on the fan shroud, telling you a warning to be aware of various threads. This one was pretty straightforward, and so we're all ready for assembly now, and we'll test our new fan once we get it all back together. Well, now that we've got everything reassembled, we've got it tightened down properly, we've got our shroud / tank reinstalled, we've got coolant topped off the washer fluid that we spilled as well. Let's go ahead and start this thing up. Now this thing should run in the full lockup position, so the fan's going to roar for a while, but after a couple minutes of running, it should settle down to a lower RPM as the fluid begins to settle into the different areas which it needs to be, and the fan job should be complete. Let's start it up in a minute. Now after approximately half a minute's worth of idle time here, the fan has already started to slow down and you can barely hear it running anymore. That's the way it should be. Now as the vehicle reaches up to operating temperature, the fan should be applied and turned on. This is a strictly mechanical type fan, no electronics involved. Hopefully now you see the correct procedure on how to replace a fan clutch on a Dodge Durango with a 4.7 liter engine.